Good day, Tommy from Golden Painting Studio here. I was inspired to do this video because of a painting lesson with a pretty regular student of mine called Matt, and he came to me this time and he said he wanted to talk about and discuss non-metal metallics, and that was a very interesting thing because he wasn't asking me to teach him, he wasn't asking me to show him, he was asking just to talk about it. And so what I started to do, I started to take him through some of the different non-met models that I've done, because each one has a different either learning property or a different approach. And I'll post pictures on my Instagram page of the different ones, you know. But some are about me development, some are about experimentation, and some are about a particular objective, whether it be a time constraint or whether it be a testing out a new formula, right? Which I'll elaborate on in a little bit. But what I decided to do was I decided to write down the key points. Not of necessarily doing non-mets, but of the mindset, because you know I'm very much about mindset. That really help get you through. You know, so why are these things important? Well, because I could give you the best brushes in the world, I could give you the best recipes in the world, I could give you the best palette, the best model, but you're still probably not going to be able to do it. Yeah, I could tell you what technique to use, I could tell you exactly where to do it, you're probably still not going to be able to do it. You know, so there's a deeper understanding that needs to happen for you guys that are chasing the non-met effect, or in my opinion, not necessarily. I don't think you think you're chasing non-mets, but really what you're chasing is better choice of colours in better locations, placed on in a higher quality way. Alright, I hope that makes sense. Alright, if not, bang a question below, because more questions means I get inspired to make more videos, by the way, and I want to make more videos. So keep inspiring me, keep asking questions, yeah, just keep doing them things. Anyway, here's the list. First thing I said, non-met, it's not a technique. You see it banded around the internet, oh, your non-met technique is amazing, blah blah blah. Whether they're talking to whatever painter, you know, and non-mets isn't a technique. It is the result of technique, alright? And you can get good techniques, bad techniques, get good techniques. So you can get good non-mets and bad non-mets. So when I teach my non-met course, one of the first things I say, let's start, this is in no particular order by the way, is have faith. That is massive. If you get halfway through your non-met job, let's say you're painting a shield non-mets, and you get halfway through it, you go, no, I don't like it, I'm doing it wrong, and you stop, you literally have just done it wrong by stopping. Now the reason is non-mets doesn't really show its beauty until, say, the last two stages. So how do you know you failed? How do you know? You know, it's like making, like cooking. You know, you put all your food in, you get half your veg in, you put half your spice in, you're not quite finished, but you say, no, the end result's awful. You don't know what the end result is until you've got to the end result. Alright? Does that make sense? So some of these will all kind of fit together. And the next thing is you don't know the end. You might only know the end result in the context of the piece it is you're working on. You don't know the end result of the context in, say, the axe head to the finished axe haft. Well, you know, because once you paint the axe head, you might not like it, but when you put the axe haft in, when you put the handle in, well, will your perspective on it change? Most probably will. So you've got to finish pieces, have to finish pieces. So that's why I said earlier on, it doesn't necessarily just apply to non-mets. but it applies very much to non-mets. Applies to everything now. So finish, and then you can make a proper judgment whether you have succeeded or not. The next thing, finish, because it's not about doing it right. Oh, I did it right. Oh, I did that bit right. Oh, I did it right. It's not. It's a balancing act. It's not a balanced act. It's balancing. Yeah, you're ebbing and flowing. You're adjusting. Yeah. So don't think in terms of dislikes or passes or failures. When you look at when you assess what it is you do, think in terms of adjustments. Yeah, don't think, oh, I don't like that line. Think, oh, that line needs to move left. Yeah, and don't think, oh, well done, I've done it, because that's not an adjustment either. Yeah, just think in adjustments. Don't think in improvements, because that's judgment. Adjustments. Make sense? Next, simplify your thinking. Overmets, non-mets, and a lot of painting is just overthought. You know, when people see how few brush strokes I use when I paint, how few coats I use when I paint, they start to ask that question, how? Well, the how comes in reducing everything to its most simplistic ways of looking at it. Like, for example, oh, tell me how do you paint eyes? Well, do I use a big brush or a small brush? Oh, small brush. Do I use a small brush with a point on it, or a small brush that goes like that? You know, and I ask these real simple, almost patronising questions, but they're not made to be patronising. They're made to make you engage your mind in a way that actually the answers are all very much there in front of you. Okay, so that one. Understand and choose your method. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, if you there are different ways of painting different styles of non-metal metallics. Some might be considered effective, some might be considered not effective, blah blah blah, whatever it is. There's different styles. Understand each style, or understand the style you're trying to copy or approach. Make sure you know what it is you're going for. So, for example, in the beginning, I would paint pretty much everything like a jewel, and keep this formula of what I call in the courses the rule of jewel going on the model. You know, so a jewel is dark at the top, light at the bottom, with a catch light at the top, and the entire model is painted using that formula. Darks never meet darks on opposing panels or adjacent panels, and you just work up through a model that way, and it's a real great way of looking at non-mets. And a top example of that is Darren Latham's Caradrian model. Go and have a look at that. Alright, so you'll learn a lot that way. Understand its strengths and weaknesses. Paint an entire model like that, and then come back and tell me where it really worked and where it really didn't. And then I have ways of a map on, just using light as a reference point, a map on where all my highlights will go. But then I've got other ones that use different formulas. So there's times when in fact most of my models when I'm painting non-mets, I don't even think about light. I just think about what colour needs to go where and in what proportion, and I'll use a formula that gets me through some of those things. You know, so when it comes to non-mets, there are lots of different approaches and lots of different ways. Learn them all, and then you can understand and pick and choose how and when things work best. So, you know, there comes a point when you'll start to use a cocktail of all the different styles and methods. What have we got here? Be clear on proportions. Be clear on your consistencies. Number 4 and 5. Proportions. I mean, you ever try and do non-met gold and you end up pretty much with this really dark black thing and then this creamy white highlight, and you've not really painted gold? Well, just start looking. Do you know what I mean? Use reference material. If you've got all that dark colour on without noticing, what are you looking at? Are you looking at your work, and are you looking at your reference picture? How have you got the wrong colours in the wrong place? You know, so if I pointed at that wall there and said, that's yellow, you go, oh yeah, yeah. I pointed at my shirt and said it's black, yeah, yeah. And then where's the boundary? Well, you know where the boundary is, don't you? So use that same simplified thinking. If you've got shading that much and you needed it that much, what point between your brain and your mind said, oh yeah, I've got to put it on that much, even though I can only see it that much? See what I mean? Just calm down and really look at the proportions of the things as you try to copy. Yeah, which I'd recommend doing first. To try and copy some non-mets. Alright? And copy it with those things in mind. Then ask yourself, well, for example, you put on that highlight, oh, can I see the base colours through that highlight? And that'll give you an idea of what kind of consistency you might need. And that's why I use a dry palette, because then I'll set that consistency on the palette to that translucency level I need, that I can see any reference. Alright? Mistakes are gifts and answers. In other words, don't give up because you've made a mistake. It's either a gift, you know, you could turn it into a cool little light bloom, or you could turn it into like a flash of light, or you could turn it into battle damage, yeah. Or on the opposite side, they might be mistakes, but in those mistakes they give you the answers. Oh, I don't like that highlight, it's too big, make it smaller then. You know, oh, I don't like that, it's too scruffy, make it neater. Do you know what I mean? And all these things that people get frustrated about, well, therein lies the answer. Just create the opposite situation. Yeah, and then see how that goes. Oh, it's not blended smooth enough. Well, blend it smooth enough. Oh, well, my paint's too thick. Well, thin it then. Do you know what I mean? It's all simplify. You're thinking, yeah. And have faith that you're gonna do it, because all these they all work together. Last one. Develop and use your eye skills. Understanding what a colour wheel is all about is different to knowing how to use it. Understanding what spot colours are about is different to know how to use it. Understanding how to create a focal point of the model, and you get the idea. Now that all comes in developing your eye. Allowing your eye to see is different than trying to see. Allowing your eye to see is different than looking for something. Allowing your eye, so you've got to learn how to allow your eye to see things. So for example, when people, oh, the focal point's here, oh, no, people, oh, the focal point's there, oh, but generally you'll find the more experienced artists will all agree on the same focal point, while everyone else wants to talk about it. You know, because an experienced artist knows how to allow his eye to see, and it's a real useful tool. The next one is fuzzy eyes. Defocus your eyes and look at a model, and that'll really help you to have more faith that you're going in the right direction. It'll also really help you to simplify your thinking, because in that instance, when you see less, some things pop out a little bit more, and that's the beauty of fuzzy eye. So there you go. This was the result of a day's discussion of non-mets, and we were doing some non-mets as well. So get your questions down below. Hope these help. Yeah, and let me know what you think. Cheers guys, see you later.